is 2025, and I have a lot of books on my TBR, and they are slowly amassing the more I read and research books. Something needs to be done about this now since I'm already running out of room on my new bookshelves. Welcome to Reaper Keep.
Hey everybody! Today I'm going to be starting a new series. This is a series that I got inspired by because a bunch of people are starting to do it now, and I think it would be perfect for my channel and like my TBR and stuff like that. Here. Hi baby. You say hi to the camera. This is Bilbo. He has nothing to do with the challenge except he is my mascot. We are going to be starting a series on this channel called Reaper Keep. I have too many physical TBR books currently because obviously I don't have that much room in my house. I have a TBR cart that's in my room. Even that one is starting to get a little full, and before I start just stacking books everywhere, because apparently that's what I love to do, I'm gonna go ahead and work my way through my physical TBR this year. So, oh, my husband just texted me. That's cute. I'm going to take you through my entire physical TBR. Some of these books I may never get through just because they're history books and I feel like I need to have them in my library. Some of these books I've already read, so I'm going to keep them. If I don't like them, I'll probably end up unhauling them by the end of the year 2025, because this is the first video going up in 2025. The way that this is going to work is I'm going to pick out a book and I'm going to read it. If I don't like it and if I give it a DNF, that is most likely going to be something I'm going to unhaul. So that's going to be a reap. Obviously, if I finish the book and I really like it, that's going to be a keep. But my goal is for every one book that I keep, I do have to unhaul one. And to add another layer to this challenge for my channel is I am not buying any books this year. Unless it's on like Kindle Unlimited, I am not putting any new books on my TBR. It has to be free or it has to be cheap, like from a thrift store or something. Gifts for my TBR and books are a little different, but I cannot buy any new physical books from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, no nothing. I have to finish my TBR first before I can buy anything else. So, let's go ahead and tour my bookshelf and give you guys a look at what my physical TBR is looking at. And I guess we'll just see what the year has in store for me. Also forgot to mention that if I do finish my books this year, or if I feel like I need something to freshen up my TBR, which really I shouldn't, but I am allowed to go and get books from the library or my tiny libraries around town. Starting at the top, we have all of my C.S. Lewis books. These ones I use sparingly. They're kind of like a Bible study book. And then I have like a bunch of other Bible stuff up here. I have my collection of Grimm fairy tales that I'm going to be using for when I have children. And that's kind of just heirloom books at the moment, so I don't plan on reading those. These are more like general like history books. Some of them are nonfiction. So like this one is nonfiction. It's about mythology. Nonfiction. This one's like fictional history, like medieval myths, fiction, but these are all like old fiction. I don't think I plan on reading any of these this year. So my TBR really starts with this shelf down here. So I do plan on reading the Once and Future King. This is the sequel to Once and Future King, which is Merlin. This is another retelling of King Arthur. I may get to this year. These are just like compendiums of Tolkien's writing, so I don't think I'll be reading these at all this year. I have read The Silmarillion. I haven't read The Children of Húrin. I've read The Hobbit. I've read 100 some odd pages of The Fellowship of the Ring. I haven't even read Two Towers or Return of the King. This one I feel like would be a special type of read. I would probably do a whole reading vlog of reading The Lord of the Rings, like all the way through for the first time. I have not read The Fall of Gondolin. I have read at least half of The Last Wish in the Witcher series. I've read almost to the halfway point in The Blood of Elves before I realized this was not the first book in the Witcher series. This one is. And then I haven't touched anything else in the Witcher series thus far. We have The Pariah, book 1, which I haven't started yet. I started Malice. I'm only about 30 pages in. So here's the real start of my TBR. I have not read Hera. This one is one of the books of the month, and this is like, it's almost like Circe in the way that it tells the story of Hera. Clytemnestra is kind of the same thing. It tells the story of a goddess that we don't know much about. I have not read Go the Distance. I tried to read it for June, and since I'm a mood reader, I just didn't pick it up because I wasn't interested in it. So I have Go the Distance. I've already read Circe, so this one is not on my TBR. So the next shelf down, we have All the Stars and Teeth. This is the first, I believe, in a series of fantasy. We have The Fate of the Fallen, which is the start in a fantasy. I need to finish The Spell Shop. I am actually 60% of the way through, so I need to finish this or get rid of it. I haven't even started The Wild Huntress. I did start Angelology. I'm about 2 hours in the audiobook. Have not even touched Angelopolis because this is the sequel to Angelology. And then we have the Outlander series. I have everything up to the Fiery Cross. We'll see if I like this series enough to finish it because every book gets bigger from here, and the first book is about 800 pages, so this one may be on the chopping block for this year if I don't like it. We have Witchfire down here, which is a 90s fantasy. We have Kings of the Wild and Bloody Rose. I'm about halfway through Kings of the Wild. I really like it. I just got bored because, again, I'm a mood reader, so if I don't want to read it, I will end up putting it down. So I have the sequel to it, which is Bloody Rose, and I want to get to it this year. We have Spinning Silver, which is a classic fantasy right now. We have The Bear and the Nightingale, which I do plan on reading in January or February, one of those 2 months. We have The House of Salt and Sorrows. I did start it. I liked what I read. I just put it down for some reason. Small Favors is not on my TBR. I did read this a few years ago. All right, next one. I did read What the River Knows. I want to read its sequel, Where the Library Hides, in February. The Dagger and the Flame. The Road of Bones. The Centaur's Wife may be one of the first ones that I end up getting rid of because, like, the idea sounds cool. I just don't think I'll be that invested in it. Bridge Kingdom, Cruel Prince, How Does It Feel, A Dawn of Onyx, Gilded, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Pestilence, and then The Princess Bride, which is a classic fantasy. Splendors and Glooms, which I would like to get to this year. It's kind of a middle grade book. The next is more of my horror shelf than my husband's. So I got halfway through. Oh, did I even get halfway through Empire? No, I got about a third of the way through Empire. I want to read Between Two Fires. I've been trying to get this book for about 2 years now. Red Horror Store, easily like one of my favorite books of this year that I read. I would like to read Evil Grows in the Dark. This is a novella of short stories. I've read Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. I would like to get to Flowers in the Attic this year. The Island and the Haunting, something I would also like to read. And Small Spaces, and I would love to finish The Last Haunt because I did start it a few years ago and I'm only like a third of the way through, and it's such a short book, so I don't understand why I haven't read it yet. Alright, so the next one is more like, this is like general fiction and romance. A Solitude of Wolverines I would love to read, and then I have its sequel, A Blizzard of Polar Bears. If I DNF A Solitude of Wolverines again, I will most likely unhaul both of these books. I've already read Austenland, really loved it. Need to read Love and Luck. I've already read all three of these books, and I'm waiting for the Strawberry Cafe. I picked up Part of Your World from A Little Library by Abby Jimenez. Dragons and Drama is kind of like a nerd romance that I would like to read. I should finish Academy of the Dead, but I'm going to take a break from this one. Thunderhead is in my bedroom right now. I haven't read Thunderhead yet, but I do want to read The Toll eventually because Scythe is, again, one of my 5-star reads for this year. This one, I am not sure if I'm going to read the Foundation series. I kind of bought it because it's a classic from the 1940s. But I guess we'll see if I get into sci-fi this year. I have Hyperion, and then these three I have finished, and these three, like, I read a long time ago. Down here is kind of like a mix of me and my husband's collections. So I don't think I plan on reading these this year because I've read most of these or I don't have an interest in reading them. I do have Wolverine novels that I would love to get to eventually, but they're not like top of my priority list. These I've already read or I don't plan on reading. And then these, I've most likely read all of these except for like Infinity War. And I think that's about it. Oh, and like The Walking Dead and stuff like that. There's also another Wolverine novel. Or this is a set of 4 novels, but I don't plan on reading those this year. And then here is my like miscellaneous fantasy shelf. We have Age of Ash, that I'm not sure if I'm going to read this year again. Inkheart, I read a very long time ago. Maybe I'll do a reread in the future. We have the first 2 in the Lawhead series, or trilogy. I want to read these because I heard they're really good. Here's the Emerald Isle, which is a standalone, like, general fiction. It follows, like, 3 different generations of women. I do not plan on reading The Way of Shadows. I feel like my husband's going to read that this year. I may read The Lightning Thief this year and start The Ranger's Apprentice this year because I have like a couple of the Ranger's Apprentice books, but not all of them, obviously. Fables, however, I got this as an early Christmas present. It's definitely a book that I want to get to this year. It's a comic book, but it's a chunker. This is only volume 1 of the whole series. So as of right now, that is my TBR that I want to get to this year. I have a couple more I need to show you, though. Okay, so one of them is 1984. 1984, I'm going to make annotations for. This is definitely a book I feel like everybody should annotate, and I'm going to start my annotation journey with that one. Like I said, Thunderhead, most likely going to read it in January because I've been dying to read the sequel. So the next one on my TBR cart is The Teller of Small Fortunes. This is most likely going to be my book club book for January. We have The Witcher Omnibus, which I want to finally read through and get through this year. Then we have, these are like kind of all the choices that I'm going to give my book club for January. Where the Dark Stands Still is going to be on that list of what we may read for January. And then we have The Foxglove King, which, again, may be something that we read in January. I'm not sure yet. And then the last 2 books that I have on my TBR is The High Mountain Court. This is the first in a 5-book series. We have The Once and Future King, which I may annotate because everybody quotes this book. I lied. There's 75 books on my TBR. So we got The 13th Child, Home for the Holidays, and The Bog Wife. So yeah, 75 is our number for this year. So as of right now, those are my reading goals for this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next Reaper Keep update will probably be at the end of January because I do plan on doing a no-buy year for my books. By the beginning of January, I hope to unhaul at least like 3 books from my TBR. So that's going to help me quite a bit. I'm also probably going to take inventory of how many books I have to read by the end of the year. So my final count for books that I need to read this year is 77, or at the very least unhaul 77 for my TBR. To me, that is a tall order, but if I've given myself the rule that like I can kind of DNF whenever I'm not enjoying the story, or I decide that it's just like this book isn't for me, I'm just going to go ahead and unhaul it because life is too short for a book that you're not enjoying. Thank you for watching my video, everybody. I hope that you had a fun time, and I hope you're looking forward to my Reaper Keep series because I'm looking forward to it because, like, I don't know, just being able to see someone make progress on their physical TBR gives me so much joy, and I really wanted to do it myself. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!